Welcome to 5 Minutes with Gray-Hair Dave. He has gray hair, he has a gray beard, and he wears glasses like the guy in the artwork. Oh, and the guy in the artwork is better looking. Now here is Gray-Hair Dave.
Well, folks. Welcome back to 5 Minutes with Gray-Hair Dave. You'll notice there's no intro today. I am up in Michigan, in Port Huron. I came for a very sad occasion. We lost our sister-in-law last week. Funeral is tomorrow, and so I'm up seeing family and friends and relatives I haven't seen in forever, meeting grandnieces and grandnephews that I've never met before or haven't seen in 15, 16 years. So, how are you doing, folks? I hope you're doing well. I wanted to talk about a couple of things today, so let's dive right in. First of all, life is very fleeting. It's hard to tell if you've done it right, and it's hard to tell if you've done it wrong. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people who can tell they've done it wrong, but I mean, realistically, if you think about it, to know when you've done it wrong is an eye-opener. And I'm not saying that I've done it wrong. I did it my way, which is probably not the best way that could have been done, but I did it my way. So I think my life has been pretty good. I'm proud of my brother for how he's handling things, but let's face it, he's going through grief, and it's going to be rough for a while for him. You know, it is. So, and I don't mean by any means to bring this podcast down. So I'm gonna change the subject now to something else. Okay. So, planning this trip down here, let's talk about travel, which most of you, I'm sure, have done. Travel. Oh my gosh, folks. So I started out in Orlando on Saturday. So I booked the first flight. Well, actually, the second flight out to Detroit, because that's where I had to go. And that was fine. I mean, I looked at a bunch of flights, and I ended up going with Delta, only because Spirit Airlines, I keep seeing all these videos online about the craziness of the people who get crazy because of seating and everything else. I'm not saying that they may not be justified. I'm just saying I don't want to deal with that. And the time that I would deal with that would probably be on my way back to Orlando, not on my way up to Detroit. Who knows? Didn't want to take that chance. And I wanted a decent seat. So I flew Delta. And I'll be honest with you, Delta's fare was really, really competitive. It was. I was able to upgrade to a comfort main seat, which is old business class, I guess. It reminded me of the original economy or coach class. I can't imagine what my seat would have been like further back. So I upgraded both flights, Saturdays, and again when I fly back out on Tuesday. It's just like, wow. And we got lucky in our row. There was just me and one other gentleman. And there's 3 seats, but either the person didn't show up or it never got booked, but there was a seat in between us, which was nice. The flight was late. They let me know the night before that it was going to be an hour late. That was because of weather in Orlando. You know, the crew had to get in, has to get a certain amount of sleep time, and I want them to be awake and ready to go. So we left maybe 45 minutes late. In reality, is that a big deal? Absolutely not. I got through Orlando, and I got up at 4. I took a shower and everything, went and got everything in the car, went and parked my car. Very easy to do, up close to the terminal. I got lucky because of the time I got there. I went through security quickly. I mean, it was only about 10 minutes. I got over to my gate, and I'm sitting at my gate, and I'm watching all these other flights board, which is fun. I enjoy watching things at the airport because I used to work there. And I like to people watch, and I got some time to do that. And the flight was fantastic. You know, we got into Detroit. Unfortunately, Detroit has this terminal that they built a few years ago, actually quite a few years ago now. It's about a mile long. Well, our flight was right about at the very end, our gate. And they've got moving walkways, and they've got this fancy little shuttle that'll take you to and from wherever. I mean, all it does is go back and forth. It doesn't do anything else. But I didn't take that, so and it's a long walk. And then you got to go downstairs to go to the car rental buses, which is fine. Every airport does that. I made the mistake of going with budget, but I wanted to say this about Detroit Metro. I used to work there. I remember when they were building this, and I didn't think well designed. They all thought it was the most fantastic thing ever done. Well, not if you're the customer who's got a briefcase or a backpack and one little bag that weighs weighs a few pounds, and you're my age. So yeah, that was a long walk, and their signage could be better. It really could be better on, it was there, but you had to interpret what they were trying to say. Ground transportation can mean a lot of things. But anyways, I found my bus. We get on the bus, and the roads, just the road from out of the terminal area over to where the car rental was bumpy as can be, and it's a relatively new road, and they're already reconstructing it. Michigan weathers, they suck. I mean, Michigan winters are harsh on roads. I understand that. So I get over to my car rental agency, and I'm going to call budget out on this for a bit. I get there. There's a problem. They got to put a $250 hold on my credit card. And I said, why do you have to do that if I have already paid it? Well, that's just the rules that I have to deal with. I said, okay, fine. So they go ahead and they charge another $250 to my credit card. Well, I was planning on using part of that $250 that they charged for meals and stuff. It's not that I don't have the money for it. I'm just saying I paid for it already. Why do I have to pay for it again? And I asked the guy right there and then, I said, you're charging me $250. When do I get it back? When you bring the car back? I said, same day. He goes, same day. I go, you sure? He goes, yes, sir. I go, if not, I'm going to come back here and we're going to have a little conversation, you and I. He goes, no, you get it back the same day. I go, okay. So he hands me a little pamphlet with my number on it, and he says, and he puts a little E on it for what kind of class I reserved. He goes, we're outside those doors, grab any car. He says, keys are in it. I said, grab any car? He goes, yeah, whatever car you want out there. Okay, that sounded easy enough. I walk out there, and there is a line of people. Got to be 30, 40 strong, and this small white tent. They were out of cars. So I got in this line, and I'm talking to people, and I said, are you in a line for a car? Yeah. They ran out of cars. Now, you would think, at a busy metropolitan airport, they would be prepared. They have a reservation system that tells them people are coming in. just saying. Luckily, they are a partner with Avis Rent-A-Car, and Avis brought a bunch of cars over, but it wasn't quick. So, as I'm out there dealing, one of the counter agents came out and was helping these poor guys and girls outside, giving us vehicles. Because you don't go take one. There's got to be somebody there to say, this is it. You know, make sure that everything matches up, and off you go. So a car finally comes for me. Excuse the noise. A car finally comes for me, and she goes, "You're in E class." She goes, "This is an F class, Mr. Carter. Here you go. You upgraded. We're going to upgrade you for free. It's not going to cost you any more." And she goes, "I'm sorry for the inconvenience," and she apologized. First person had apologized to me that day, and I thanked her for that. I said, "I really, really appreciate that. You don't know how much." So I got my little rental car, which is not a little rental car. They upgraded me to a Mazda CX-50, which is a very nice vehicle. Brand new. It only had it had under 4,000 miles. And I get in, I'm starting to drive, and I'm driving down I-94, which is the main expressway, which is going to take me all the way to where I want to go. It takes me all the way from Detroit to Port Huron. So I'm driving along, all of a sudden there's a little construction, and the road sucks, but it always does. And going along, all of a sudden see signs, not very good at it, but signs that say, construction ahead. Right 2 lanes, merge left. Well, of course, I start merging left right away. And I think that part of that's from my trucking days, because the sooner you get over it, the less problems you have. And so all of a sudden, the two lanes have disappeared, and that took a while. Because everybody in the left 2 lanes, of course, I got to wait till the very last minute to get over. Don't do that. But anyways, everybody's got to get over. And then they say, freeway's closed. It's like, huh? One sign says take Michigan to Livernois back to 94. One sign, and if you miss it, you don't know where the heck you're going. If you don't have any idea where you're going. So I get off with everybody else. I'm following everybody else. And if you know the Detroit area, the area I was in was not the most favorable portion of town in Detroit. I can't imagine what it's like to have to live there, but people are living there and they're doing just fine. But I was almost all the way to downtown before I could get back on the expressway. And so I did. Well, so that took an extra 15 minutes or so. Anyways, for the whole, I don't want to go into every detail, but we had another slowdown again because we lost a couple of lanes. And then it was pretty much smooth sailing. And a trip that should have taken me an hour and 15 to an hour and 30 minutes to get, it took me just a little over 2 hours. Fine. Now, I'd made a reservation at a hotel or a motel in Port Huron, and I only going to be here 2 nights. I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money. I'm not going to be in it a lot, but so I made a reservation, and I get here, and there's 2 or 3 people in front of me in line, and this really nice girl at the counter. She's giving great customer service, but it took me another half an hour to check in, and I am at this point on a time crunch. In a sense, the viewing on Saturday was from 6 to 8 that I was going to go to. Well, by the time I got to my room and got to the hotel, which I got to the hotel at 4:30, I landed, folks, in Metro at 12:15. It should not have taken me 4 hours to get to Port Huron, let alone longer than that, but it did. So I get here and there's a line, and then there's a family got a problem in that line. So I finally get up there, and this nice young girl, she checks me in, and she goes, "Mr. Carter, I'm sorry for the delay." She goes, "I'm going to upgrade your room, for you being so nice and patient." I said, "Oh, that's very nice." She goes, "And it's ready." Oh, fantastic. So it's on the first floor, which is convenient. It's got a refrigerator and doesn't have a microwave, but I don't need a microwave. A refrigerator is nice for my Diet Coke and my beer. It's a nice room. I I think it's the room that I requested originally, but it doesn't matter. She did a nice thing, and I'm very, very happy with the service so far. So, folks, if you've ever moved away from your hometown, you're going to understand what I'm trying to say now. When they say you can't go back, you can go back, but it's not the same. It's usually not any better. I'm going for a drive today to see a few sites and to do a few things that I'd wanted to do while I was here. One was go visit my parents' grave and just see the old house I grew up in and, you know, get a bite to eat. But the city's changed and the people haven't. If that makes any sense at all to you folks. And I'm not saying that to diminish or to insult the people who live here. It's just everybody looks the same as they did when I left. But when you go, I guess it's because I live in an area where there are such diversity of cultures. You don't really get that this far up north. That's what I wanted to talk about today. Thanks for the patience. If you got questions or concern about today's podcast or any podcast, go to my website, 5 Minutes with Gray Hair Dave. That's the number 5, minuteswithgrayhairdave.com. Go to the contact me page. You can leave me a message there, or you can just click on that little microphone and leave me a voicemail. If you've ever considered being a podcaster, I want you to go to grayhairproductions.com. Go to the contact me page, leave me a message, and I'll get it back to you, and I will help you start a podcast or help you edit your podcast, whatever you need. The service is free to begin with, and then we start working into paid things. But also, folks, listen to boomerpodcasters.com. Boomer Podcasters is about starting the first steps of starting a podcast. Listen to it. Let me know what you think. Also, folks, if you know somebody who doesn't know what a podcast is, do me a favor. Show them for me. Show them where to find them on their phones or on their iPads or on their computers. Show them how to search, how to navigate around, what genres are available, how to follow, and use me as an example. Here, go look for 5 Minutes of Gray Hair Dave, and you'll find him and listen to him, and you can practice that way, okay? I'd appreciate that. Also, folks, if you see somebody you don't know today, smile at them. They may be having a bad day, and your smile or nice thank you is going to make their day. So thanks for being here. I can't wait to talk to you again next week when I get back home. I'll let you know how that one went. You all have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.